we are now joined by Salina. She's General Manager of Naturino, or I should say the company that stands behind it, and a very well and long established company in Italy, and a big player in the children's footwear industry in Italy and in Europe. So first of all, I'm delighted you are here.
Thank you
and
for inviting me.
Can we just start at the beginning with some brief description of your company? Obviously, I mentioned you are very well established. So how old is the company, and what is your main focus?
Okay, so we are about 45 years old, which is an important amount of time we have behind our backs, and we started with children's shoes, so that's where the company originates, and it started with a very innovative idea of making soft and colourful children's shoes in a world where the shoes were mainly dark blue and dark brown, and they were like nice, solid,
leather-based,
yes.
Exactly,
shoes. So we started with this DNA of innovation and a lot of attention to technical aspects. So how the shoe should be built to be good for the child's foot, which is a very soft organ in a child because the bones are still not completely formed, and it has to sustain the body and allow the child to walk. So it's
and you developed your own kind of technology or system.
Yes.
Let us have some information about that.
Because there was a lot of research and work done before the shoes actually were introduced into the market, together with children doctors and orthopedics, and it was. They worked for more than a year to get to construction, which then was summarized in the concept of sand effect, which was a choice of materials and of construction that would allow the foot to be inside a soft surface that gave sustain to the foot, but also allowed the foot to shape the footwear and not the other way around.
Okay.
So. It was a very, very innovative idea.
When did you introduce that?
This was introduced in the beginning of the late 70s, so the end of the 70s.
Okay, so that's a long time ago. So
yes.
It's very innovative at the time, I guess.
Yes, it was.
And that is something you've developed further and further, and
we've kept over the years. We've always had a very, very. Being, I suppose, also an Italian company, we've also been very close to fashion. So innovation for us over the years also been meant being very close to the fashion industry. And but at the same time, we've kept working on the construction, looking for new constructions, and always paying attention to the child's foot, to the requests of a growing foot.
Yes. Pitti Bimbo is mainly a fashion trade fair. It has changed a bit. We see accessories, we see lifestyle products by now, and more shoes.
Yes.
So is it for Naturino an important trade fair in terms to present your products or to actually receive orders as well?
Okay. Pitti is a very important exhibition. It's one of the nicest trade shows for medium-high segments of the market. Here you find the most beautiful clothing, accessories, footwear in the world. And it's also a very early trade show, so it kind of kicks off the season. So there's a lot of excitement when we all come to Pitti Bimbo, or the adult Pitti, which was last week.
Yes.
And it is unique in its own way because there are some beautiful trade shows which have developed recently in Northern Europe and which are closer to the taste of the Northern European markets. And Pitti is, I think, the one which is most international, and also it's in the highest segment of the market. And over the years, fashion for children has become so much more important. I think before, like for us, the technical aspect was important and the fashion came after that. And now, probably people, first it has to look right and then also be good.
So That's, I guess that is true. But at least you've got your DNA, which is innovation driven, and you've got this technological base, so to speak, on the basis of which you can really develop these products further. So the new collection which you present here, what are the main changes? Are there new materials you use, or are there new designs? What is new?
The designs, of course, we're not upstairs in the booth. We're here, so there's not much I can show you.
Yes.
But it is once again a very, very colourful collection with loads of embroidery and applications and a lot of beautiful prints. And this season, like every season, we have something new. And this season we have some sandals with cork insoles, and which is also very interesting and very new. So we always have the sandals with a leather covered insole, and now we have them with cork. And also a new construction of a sole unit which is made of natural rubber and cork, which is extremely flexible and 100% natural. Because being our name Naturino, we're also always as close as we can to the world of nature and of healthy natural materials.
How long does it take, for the people who don't know, people like me, how long does it take to, decide, we want to introduce, for instance, cork, and till it actually reaches the trade fair or then the consumer? What kind of time frame are we talking about?
As you can imagine, these last 5 to 10 years, things have accelerated in a very important way. We've always been very proud of how reactive and fast we were. But we were always in a mentality before of the 2 seasons, so it was 2 collections a year. And that has, for us and for a lot of other companies, changed a lot, because now the retailers feel the need to offer their customers at least 4, if not 6 times a year, new product in the store. The consumer is so much more informed and more eager for novelty that 2 collections a year is by far not enough. So if before we thought we were fast, now we're 10 times faster. So we get an idea, and within 6 weeks we've turned it around. We have a prototype, approved sample, and we offer it to our important retailers into the market.
And obviously export is for your company quite important, but let's touch on that a bit later. Coming back to the product development, do you then, once you've thought up the idea and developed a prototype, do you then speak to the agents or shop owners in order to test run the idea?
Yes.
To get feedback? How is that structured?
We have a big network of sales personnel, internal and external, that work together with us, and we confront our ideas with them. And even more important, we have a panel of the most important customers, the most fashionable customers, and we either meet with them if they're close by or send them pictures and get their feedback.
Customers means retailers, I take it?
Customers mean retailers, and actually, and more we have a strong base of consumers who like an open dialogue with the company, much more than I would have ever thought some years ago. And so they are asking questions, and we're also asking them about their opinion, and that has become, I think, the new trend in communication and exchange of information with the consumer.
So, social media or the internet, digital platforms. So you can, obviously you have your own website, your own corporate website, but you can and you use social media extensively in order to nurture a contact with the end consumer and analyze this and filter this and in order to use it?
Yes, we feel we're nowhere as smart and good as we should be, because I think that's going to be an important trend for the future. But already now we have an important office with young ladies and also some gentlemen who dedicated to the relationship with the consumers and social media in general. So you have the website, but the website is definitely not the most interesting part of the exchange with them.
It's the basis, isn't it?
Yes, but like Instagram or bloggers and Facebook pages, people write and you have to answer. And once you start answering and getting questions and feedback, you realize how important it is. Even when it's a negative criticism, the moment you say, "Oh, I apologize, I hadn't realized. How can we make it better?" All of a sudden, you've got one of the most loyal and happy consumers out there.
It's quite a challenge, isn't it, for a company, because this is very time-consuming.
Yes.
And so I assume this took some time to get your structures adjust to this, and but now you kind of feel confident that you can play this, so to speak. These.
We have to do it more and more, and it does need a budget, but that budget has come away from other areas of communication that used to be important, and now we feel that more and more the consumer requires that kind of communication. I mean, I heard a concept some weeks ago which I hadn't heard before, and I found it very interesting. They say we're going towards the economy of servitization, which I don't think is an amazing word, but what this term is trying to summarize it, the consumer nowadays does not buy a product. The moment they buy like a car from you or even a pair of shoes, they enter in a relationship with you, and they expect that if they're driving your car or if they have bought a skateboard from you, that if they have questions, if they have a problem with that product, that the company is there to answer their questions or even keep them updated if there's new features for the cars. And it's this very interesting and very different. Before you sold the product and it was finished.
That was it. Yes. So the relationship has really
so it's
turned upside
when
down.
you sell the product, it's the beginning of a relationship in which the consumer, because more and more it's a very interesting time. There are so many. It's a perfect time for new brands to enter the market, because we were saying before, the consumer is so much eager for novelty, and often novelty comes from also new young designers who are bringing their product and their ideas. And but at the same time, there's been a lot of brands out there that did not feel they gave enough guarantee to the consumer. Because if I'm buying something from a new brand and it's not going to be there in 6 months, what if I have a question or have a problem? So I think the consumer likes novelty, but they also like to know that that company it also exists and there are real people there, and that they're not buying a product, especially if it's for their children, from just a post box that is delivering from some strange place. So there's this reliability, and that becomes also very important.
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's we could I think go on for ages only about this very aspect of your business. In order to round things off, export, we touched on it a bit earlier briefly. Naturino is operating, or is offering its products, I don't know in how many countries.
In many countries.
In many countries. I guess Europe is very important. When you think about these, let's stick with Europe, the European markets. What are your plans for the immediate future? And how do you communicate? Do you use mainly agents? Do you speak to retailers directly? So because you've been doing it already for some time, so you have your own networks. So what's the focus for the next year? And what would you like to achieve in markets like England or Germany? What's your intentions?
Okay. The world's a big place, and we always pride ourselves that we sell a lot in the US, we sell a lot in Asia. Because like in markets, excuse me for going a little bit outside of Europe, but in markets like, something's crashing over there. In markets like China, they love a brand like Naturino because they trust us, and they trust that we test our materials and that we are giving them something which is good for their children.
Do you work with a local partner there, or do you have your own setup?
We have a local partner, and together with them we do the distribution in the market. So. But coming to Europe, and Europe is our most important market, and it's also the market we love because it's where we belong, and we have markets. The most important markets for us within Europe are Italy, Germany, and France. For some obvious reasons, because they're very big markets, and also I think, especially in countries like Italy and Germany, there's such a big attention to children's footwear and quality, and the consumer is very demanding in a nice way. So the more demanding the customer, the more you have to be good at your job. So and deliver. So that's very interesting. What we're doing in the near future, we have a great network of agents, but we also have great personnel both in sales and in customer care, which is, as we were saying, also very important, both consumers but also for the retailers, because the retailers which are out there, they need a constant assistance, and we have a lot of products which are carry over, they sell all year, so they need to know that we are there, that we have can deliver shoes quickly when they need them, and also more and more we have a team of people who also can go around to, especially to the bigger retailers who have more than one store, to also explain the product and explain the fashion of the season to the personnel in the stores. Because they're saying even more and more, the consumer goes to a store, expects to find a lot of variety and a lot of information from the people in the store. So they also reinventing the way they work and interact with this modern consumer, these young mums who are super informed and
last but not least, because it's such, again, a wide area, online, offline. So obviously you sell via the stationary channels and via online as well. But because of the complexity of a shoe, and many people would expect that, online sales would always, stay, at a kind of a low level, but that's not true. Sales online are increasing as well, aren't they?
They are increasing. They have increased a lot. The last already 10 years or so, this huge introduction to the market of online players, especially in countries like Germany, because not in every market it's been the same. And in Europe, I think Germany's been like the leading market for online sales, also for children's footwear, which everybody thought, no, it's never going to be an interesting channel. How much it's going to grow, nobody knows. I don't know, but I believe that for good brick and mortar retailers who do the right thing, there's still absolutely a future, because even we as people who walk a street, you would not want to walk through a city where there's no beautiful stores and where you can go in and
have a look and
find
try
a beautiful
something
product
out
and try it on and take it home. The retailers which we see are growing and getting even more successful are the ones who are very active. They present a variety of products, so it's not only footwear, or it's not only the few safe brands which they've been selling for 20 years, and that also have reinvested in their stores. So they've made them more appealing. I'm sitting here and looking at this beautiful wall full of flowers, and but it's not easy. And then the consumer wants the service, but wants a variety. And how can you offer variety in a small store? You cannot have every shoe under the sun. I think sometimes with offering different category of products, the consumer gets the idea of
the ranges,
of a great offer.
Yes. Wonderful. I'd love to continue this, but as I said, these 10-15 minutes, passed by very, very quickly.
Very quickly.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. It's been very interesting talking with you.
And hope we can continue in the near future.
Another time with pleasure.
Okay, lovely. Thanks very much indeed.